Please listen very closely and please pay very close attention as you watch this video. This video is about the destruction of the temple, mentioned in Matthew 24 as well as Mark 13. In Matthew 24, it talks about the abomination that causes desolation, standing in the holy place. In Mark 13, it mentions the abomination of desolation, standing where it ought not to be. For years I have contended that the abomination of desolation is the serpent seed within the human genome. It is critical that you understand the upcoming information to fully understand the destruction of the temple. In Jewish history, there is a period that is called the 3 weeks, which is a mourning period in which the Jews mourn the destruction of the temple. They mourn the destruction of the first and the second temple in Jerusalem, and it reaches its climax and concludes on the 9th of Av. If you look in Google and you do a search on the month of Av, in Jewish history, it simply shows Av is the 11th month. Dates are written differently in different countries. The 9th of Av would be written with the day first and the month coming after the day. So the 9th of Av would be considered 9/11. This brings us to a very interesting point. The day that the Twin Towers were destroyed was also on a day called 9/11. This was the fallen angels mocking humanity, proclaiming that they had destroyed the temple, meaning the human temple as a host body for the Spirit of the living God. The rebuilt temple, the One World Freedom Tower, is a representation of a new temple, a new human body, host body, that would house or be inhabited by the spirit of fallen angels, Satan and the fallen angels. Each parent gives 23 chromosomes in the production of a new temple. The Twin Towers were a representation of fallen angels breeding with humans. Each tower represented 23 chromosomes. So George Bush read Psalm 23. Later, Barack Obama, he signed a beam and he wrote, "We remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger." If you look at the first part of each sentence, we remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger. It's WWW. WWW in Hebrew is alphanumeric. WWW equals 666, which is a representation of Satan. So Barack Obama wrote 666 at the very top of the newly constructed temple. These are the Twin Towers. These are representations of the Twin Towers. Each one represents a different species. The wheat, the weeds. They're growing alongside each other, but they look identical. You can't tell the difference. The only time you can tell the difference is at the harvest. They're growing alongside each other. Each one represents 23 and 23 chromosomes. Okay, that's the number of completed chromosomes. When you add them together, you get 46. 23 and 23 equals 46. So each tower represented 23 chromosomes. When they bombed these, President Bush read Psalm 23. Wow, what are the odds? Well, how come when Barack Obama stood and christened this and he read at Ground Zero on September 11th, how come he read Psalm 46? Psalm 46, it took 46 years to build the temple. Oh, 46 chromosomes in human DNA. Oh, so the fallen angels are saying they've rebuilt the temple, but it's a fallen angel temple over a human. Now, I know there's a lot of people that think there's going to be a rebuilt temple in Jerusalem. Well, there was a lot of Pharisees that thought Jesus meant destroy this temple and in 3 days I'll raise it up. He wasn't talking about a building. The Jews said it took 46 years to build the temple. And Jesus said, you've heard what I said, but you haven't understood it. He was talking about his body being the temple. Now, let's see what happened. These things got blown up, so they're blown up. They're on the $20 bill. So someone or something has arranged that and pre-planned it. And we know it was Satan using humans as puppets. We already showed you who they are. Satan and the fallen angels. That's who they are. Those that try and hide their plans from the Lord are doomed. They carry out their schemes in secret. What schemes? These schemes. And think no one will see them or know what they're doing. They turn everything upside down. Okay, well, here's another representation of who they are. They are the pyramid. Like the capstone, you know, on the back of the dollar bill. This is who they are. They are the all-seeing eye. That's who they are. They're the weeds. They're the other half part of you. It's the abomination is in you. You're the temple. Now watch this. They carry out their schemes in secret and think no one will see them or know what they're doing. So they bomb the Twin Towers and they're making a proclamation in public saying there's no longer two races. Each one of these, let's put a little circle here and a line through it and say that represents the brain. They both have two separate consciousnesses, but when they've been bred together, these two consciousnesses are at odds with each other and they fight each other. You have your good side and your bad side.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
People that are looking for a new temple to be built in Jerusalem are looking for the wrong thing. The temple has been rebuilt, but it's been rebuilt in the form of another race of beings on this planet that use our bodies as a host. The 9th of Av represents the destruction of the temple in Jewish history. 9/11 represents the 9th of Av. That is why the Twin Towers were destroyed on 9/11. That is also the reason why the numbers 9/11 were used to create a number for emergency, because Satan and the fallen angels created it. Remember that the book of Daniel says that the Antichrist will change the times and the laws. I think you need to look no further than the White House to understand the eventuality. So once again, in conclusion, in Jewish history, the 9th of Av has always been the day that the Jews remember the destruction of the first and the second temple. Av is the 11th month. The 9th day would be written as 9/11. On 9/11, the Twin Towers were destroyed, which represented the commingling of fallen angels with humans. George Bush read Psalm 23. The temple rebuilt would have 46 chromosomes. Barack Obama stood and read Psalm 46. Said, "Be still and know that I am God," that the temple has been rebuilt. Please understand, Jesus came in a way not perceived by men, and so does the devil. Jesus is rebuilding his own temple, and he is using people to rebuild it that have been saved by the Holy Spirit. The scriptures clearly declare, "Do you not know that your body is a temple of God?" The scriptures also clearly declare, "You are all being built up as living stones in a holy temple for God to occupy." You are being built up into the New Jerusalem. Do not be deceived. There will not be a third Solomon's temple built in Jerusalem. We are that temple. Satan has built himself his new temple, which is a collective consciousness, which is of one mind, which receives its power from the dragon and is the beast. Jesus has built his temple, which is made up of souls saved by the Holy Spirit. We are being built up into the New Jerusalem.